We just finished tuning Kelsey's ND1 with the N1 tune by VersaTuner and Fab9. So today I want to walk you guys through the process and discuss the results. So the N1 tune is a relatively cost-effective and easy option to tune your Miata, and it allows you to receive a custom tune from Fab9 no matter where in the world that you live. You want to start by purchasing the tune from Fab9 themselves. If you do not have an OBD link cable like this one here, you want to go ahead and check the yes box to add that to the order, as it will be required to flash the tune onto the car. After ordering the tune, you'll receive an email from VersaTuner themselves that contains a link to activate the license for and download the software. The cable should arrive via mail in a separate box in a couple days. It's important to note that the VersaTuner software is only compatible with Windows, so make sure you have a good Windows laptop before you start this process. Once you have the cable and the VersaTuner software installed on your computer, head to the car with your computer and the cable, pull up VersaTuner software on your computer, plug the cable into it and the car, and then turn the ignition on by pressing the start button twice without touching the brake. Next, you want to click on the Identify My Car button. This will allow VersaTuner to connect to your car, and once it does that, you should see your car's information like the VIN populate on the screen. Now we need to install VersaTuner onto the car to allow it to reflash the ECU. Click on the Install VersaTuner on My Car button, follow the on-screen instructions, click Next, and then allow the software to do its thing. It will start by backing up the base tune to save for later in case you want to return the car to stock or there's a failure with the tune that you have. VersaTuner will also upload a base map onto the car, which is pretty much similar to stock, and the total process for this whole thing takes about 30 to 45 minutes. Once it's all done, you want to go back to the home screen, click on the little envelope button at the top of the screen itself, and you want to send that data to products@fab9tuning.com. They will then take that, create the custom tune, and send it back to you. Now, it did take a little while for us to receive our custom tune back from Fab9. So in the meantime, if you want to try out the software, there are a couple of tunes that VersaTuner has created. They're pre-built into the software. You access those by going to the Tunes tab at the top of the screen, and then you will see all of the tunes that are currently available, as well as descriptions of what each of them do. This screen is also where we will go once you receive your tune file from Fab9. Once you receive your tune from Fab9, you want to go ahead and download it to the same computer that you use VersaTuner on. Then load up VersaTuner again, go to the Tunes tab, click on the Import button, and select the tune file. This will load that file into VersaTuner software, and you should see it pop up at the bottom under the My Tunes section. Once you're ready to flash your new tune onto your MX-5, you want to go ahead and select the tune that you want to put on the car and click the flash button. Make sure everything's connected just like we did before to capture the stock data, and follow the on-screen instructions, press Next, and then let the software do its thing again. Thankfully, flashing the car took a lot less time. I want to say about 4 or 5 minutes in total. They do recommend to drive the car lightly the first 20 miles or 30 kilometers to allow the ECU to relearn its parameters, but that is all there is to it. You now have a tuned MX-5. So what were the results from tuning Kelsey's ND1? So we put the car on the dyno before installing the tune, and we were able to manage 141 wheel horsepower and 147 wheel torque. The dyno that this shop used was a Dyno Jet for reference. After installing the tune, we were able to hit 151 horsepower and 148 torque. So in total, we got about a 7% increase in power and a little bit more torque, but peak numbers aren't the full story here. If we take a look at the Dyno Graph, you can see the runs that we did before the tune in blue and red. The pulls that we did after the tune are in yellow and green. You'll notice on the stock map, there was a weird dip in power from about 4,300 all the way up to 6,200 RPMs. The tune completely eliminated that and overall increased the area under the curve, or the total power we make at all RPMs. You'll also notice that in stock format, the car really started to taper off after about 6,200 RPMs. It started to dip down in power, versus with the N1 tune, that power stayed relatively steady up to the higher red line. It didn't drop off quite as much. Dyno numbers are fun and great, but how does this exactly translate to real world performance? Well, the first thing we noticed after driving the car was that the throttle response was a lot sharper and more instant than it was before. The car seemed a lot more eager to go when you step on the gas, and in pretty much all gears, especially third and fourth, you really notice that extra power bump in that mid-range. Feels like you don't need to give it quite as much throttle to pull ahead and accelerate, and we were able to pass on the highway in sixth gear a lot easier than before. In addition, I did some acceleration tests with the car. So in third gear, to eliminate the driver variable, from 2,500 RPMs all the way up to about 6,500 RPMs, I measured the time it took to do that acceleration at full throttle. It took 10 seconds exactly in stock format. After installing the tune, it was only 9.32 seconds. So that's more than half a second faster in that acceleration test. I also drag raced Kelsey's car against my ND2, again in third gear from 2,500 RPMs all the way up to redline. And so with her car in stock format, she lost pretty bad. My ND2 was able to pull away quite easily, and especially once we climbed higher into the RPMs. After installing the tune, well, that was a different story. You can see here. You could see she was pretty much even with me the entire time. I might have been inching away just a bit, so it really did make a noticeable difference, even though it looks like a small amount of power on the dyno. Overall, I'd say Kelsey and I are very happy with the N1 tune from Fab9. It did make a noticeable difference in the vehicle, and it is a relatively easy and cost-effective option to add some more power to your MX-5. We also got the little cracks and pops tune added on to this one. And so here's a small clip of what that sounds like. The cracks and pops are pretty mild, and they seem to be most noticeable off throttle at low RPMs, especially in lower gears like second and third, but it does add a nice bit of aggression to the exhaust note. They're very mild, they're not annoying or too loud in any sort of way. So if you haven't thought about tuning your ND yet, now is your sign to go do it. And if you have been thinking about it, you absolutely should. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please leave all your questions and comments down below in the comment section. I love seeing your guys' feedback and helping out to the best of my ability. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.